Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the man cave of madness. It's a little bit before midnight and we're doing another unboxing here. This is a new game from Compass Games, 1812 War on the Great Lake Frontiers. That just arrived in the mail this week. Just now getting a chance to open it. So let's dig into the shrink, where as usual I've made some little slits to aid my unboxing endeavor. All right, there we go. The shrink is off. All right, still there's a little bit of glare. All right, let's zoom out a little bit here and see if we can see the majority of the back of the box. Zoom in to read it. All right. Medium complexity game with seasonal turns at 55 square miles per hex. 2-player medium solitaire suitability. Units got regiments. So between 1.5 up to 9 hours of play. So I'm assuming there are some scenarios and maybe a campaign game. So this is by designer Ken Repel. All right, with Richard Jennings being the developer. All right. All right, so obviously this is set during the time of the big conflict with Napoleon, but of course there's some action over here on our continent during 1812. Up in the Great Lakes area. For freshwater navies of the United States and Great Britain. All right. Micro navies of Perry, Io, Gronau. Surrounding force and fight the U.S. Navy's first fleet engagement in the Battle of Lake Erie. All right. Okay, here we go. 11 scenarios, ranging from a 1-map 90-minute game to the 2-map full campaign. Highly replayable. All right, let's open this guy up and see what we got. There we go. Slide, slide, slide. See if that's gonna stay up for us. All right. Oh, it's nice having some cool artwork in the background there. So we have 6-sided, no, it looks like 8-sided dice. 4 6s and 4 8s. So that's an interesting selection. I am gonna tilt this down more and forget the art. Let's look at the box contents. We have 5 decks of cards. 2 US decks. Oh no. Okay, so this I think is a split deck. So there's 2 British decks, 2 US decks, and this color is obviously British, but this side's a US deck. So I think probably in the middle here we got half and half. I'm gonna guess. Can't tell that from here unless I open it up. Well, shall I try to open it up real quick, folks? I usually don't try to open up cards live because getting into them sometimes is a problem, but we seem to be doing okay with my handy dandy stabbing tweezers. All right. Oh, interesting. They're mixed together. Ooh, attacker, British. So I wonder, these could be like optional cards. I'm not sure if I want to initially look at them, if there might be some surprises. So that's interesting that there's this mix interlaced together. So I'm going to set this, I'm going to keep it like this, just in case. If it's something like that, usually there'd be a little piece of paper to read this first. Do not undo this deck. You will spoil the fun. Or, you know, there's some programmed games where the order of the cards matter. Yeah, I remember it was by Friedman, whatever his name was. That he's a number of ones like that where it's like you start playing the game, you're learning by just start turning the cards over, and you got to keep them in the right order. And if you shuffle them, it's like, oh my god, you need to get them back in order. All right, so we're got maps here. All right, I'm gonna tilt up a little bit. I'm gonna zoom back out. That's what's maps. They're big, and I unfold them, and then it's gonna get harder to see. Wider war with the United States. So, okay. There, that's just Lake Champlain. All right, so now we're gonna have to tilt. There we go. So this is interesting, the orientation. I'm gonna lift the camera. Look at that. See, it's not this seam. This is up and down on the map, but there's the compass. That's north, that way. So to fit this in a certain way and and optimize the layout, it's very interesting how, you know, this is interior. Like someone's like, no, you're not going in there. You got like roads or trails or something here, but it's like, nope, we're not even gonna put it on the map. You're not going there. It's too wildernessy. Okay, all right. Upper St. Lawrence. More falls here from Lake Champlain. Look at the glare there. All right, I want to get that other map. Yes, there's no way I'm gonna be able to have both maps. I'm on a card table here, and stay. Maybe I can hold the other one like Huron. Unfortunately, carefully back. There's Lake Erie. You can see that without that glare. That glare there. Yeah, so, wow. Lake St. Clair, one of the not so great lakes. Okay, here's Niagara. There's Niagara. Coming down into Lake Erie. Again, remember that's really tilted slightly. Wow, this is coming off of Lake Ontario there, down into Erie, up to Huron. Great stuff. So this is just a fascinating map, and obviously you need a nice long table to set up the full campaign. It's gonna be interesting. So let's look at the key here. Village. Let me see. Can I get that better there? Oh, now I'm getting shadow or glare. Can you see that? Read that. Village, fort, town, town with fort, city, city with fort, and major city with fort. Wow. Well, that's Pittsburgh. Up to Erie. Wow. All right. That's fascinating. That is fascinating. All right. So here's the border between Ohio and Indiana Territory. Fort Wayne. Fort Defiance. Michigan. So this is up to Lake Superior. All right, so is this turned upside down? All right. So here, yes. This is why, again, no, yes. That's New York. Here's Erie, Ohio. Fascinating. All right. So let me get that out of the way so we can look at the counters in the rule books and the other goodies. So Meandering Mike getting fascinated by the map. Totally sucked into that. All right. Seeing just the subset of Lake Huron was like, wait, something's really weird here. How are we getting there by water? And it's like, you're not. Like there was maybe an overland portage or something. Oh, wow, these are thick rule books. 48 pages, glossy. Aha, here we are. Yeah. Ontario, Erie, Huron. And so 2, Lake Superior, and then hanging way over here is Lake Michigan. And it's obviously Illinois, Ohio, so Indiana here. And so we were seeing that part of Lake Huron, but we weren't actually seeing the water, because there was Detroit. We were only seeing this far. Right, on that map. And then they sort of had that separated into that chunk of Lake Huron. Very interesting. All right. So let's look in this table of contents, maps, units, strategy cards. Credits are on page 47, index. So 43, about 40 pages of actual rules. Okay, it is color. There are, yes, here we go. Lines of communication, ferries, harbor hexes. Wow. Regiment IDs, vessels, individual vessels, ships of the line, frigates, corvettes, brigs, schooners, and sloops. All right, this is fascinating. Perry, Macomb, Scott, Tecumseh, Prevost, naval movement example. Disembarking. We've got very nice big subsections. Here's each major case, and then a nice font for the next sublevels, and so it is a case system, which is highly superior for a rule book of games of any complexity. And then we have here a playbook, which is 60 pages, is bigger than the rule book. And here we have many, many examples of play, which also references the subsections. I'm going to assume that. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe that's their own case numbers, and then I'd be disappointed slightly. They should match. Yeah, they don't. They're not the same. Card inventory 8, whereas 8 in here is land movement. So I actually wish they wouldn't have made it the same color or something. If it's not referring to the case in the rule book, they should have not done 7.0 or something. They should have used a Roman numeral or a different font for the 7 and not do the 7.0. Because this isn't a case rule book. This is a playbook with examples. I mean, here they're referring to the rules, showing their cases, and that's fine, where they're referring back to the rules. But in here, they shouldn't use the same style for a header. That's just my recommendation. Think about that. Compass guys, when you're doing your rule books and your playbooks in the future, if they are cross-referencing exactly, go ahead and use the same kind of header, font style, whatever. But if they don't, make sure they're distinct so people don't mistake that they are. Okay, many years. I want to see. Oh, counter manifests. Oh, wow. Who, when? Naval Vessel Almanac. Wow. These ships take a while to build, and you're building them right there on the lakes, and you got falls and stuff, and so you're not necessarily sailing these upstream very far. You're not going to take a schooner down the Niagara Falls, I hope. All right, this just looks amazingly fascinating here. Let's take a look at, well, what's next? Doesn't appear to be counter sheets, reserves, damage section. So this looks like probably some kind of combat lineup. Each guy has their combat on their side. I don't know if this is, oh, well, I don't know if that's for naval. And this is for ground. Yep, center, left flank, right flank, lead regiment box. So this is your ground. I don't know, though, what this is for. But it's on the back of that. Two maps, set up 1814. Spring 1812 and spring 1813 starting scenarios. These are pretty nice. I mean, you can hear them. All right, action phases. It's not a detailed sequence of play. I always like to have one of those on a card. More setup. Oh. I wonder if this is for one of the scenarios where you just play that short scenario on this. Lake Erie, Fort Erie. Well, these appear to be oriented this way. These are oriented this way. Wow. That is very interesting. All right. March to Detroit. Scenario setup. Terrain chart. Ah, bless them. Yes, you've got the map, terrain key with the name, with all the effects in one place. This is the way to do it, folks. All you publishers out there or designers who plan to self-publish, do it this way. Wow, more and more setup cards. Combat Posture Matrix. Now, I wonder what you do in a solitaire game. It said only medium solitaire playability, so what do you do for combat tactics? Combat posture. Do you have a little bot to figure out? I don't like over-detailed bots and things. I'd rather just have a simple flowchart or a rubric or something that just says, here's how to decide, or based on these circumstances, roll this die or that die, or here's some counters to put in a cup, and in certain circumstances you add or remove more or less of certain chits, and then you draw, so it's randomized, but it's weighted. All right, and this is the typical in the shrink compass games. These don't feel like they would necessarily fall out. As I'm picking it up and flexing a little bit, this is not like some of them where it's like, they would just boom, 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 come right out. So this is not too bad. So I'm not gonna take them out of the shrink right now. So I am going to put all those, most of those charts on the bottom. And then the counters. I like having the maps right underneath the rules. Then usually the counters under the maps. And because the cards flip and flop around, of course you put them. Now, sometimes when you got really thick rule books like this, where you got, let's see which where's the top. I'll oftentimes put one face down to flatten them out, even them out kind of thing. And in this case, I'll put the maps in between the two. So you're going, oh my God, you didn't do that. And I say, yes, I did. All right, so I'm not going to open up all the card decks. I'm going to take a peek at some of the ones that I did open up real quick. Well, let's go this way here. And I'm just hoping that... Let me zoom in more. Gordon Drummond. It's an event. It's got a date on it. If he's in supply, move him. There's some shorthand speak. Move Drummond and less than equal to 5 same hex regiments to any hex that is in full supply. So Drummond, wherever he's at, with no more than 5 regiments that are currently in his hex, can go to any hex that is in full supply. Did he just like teleport across the map? If he's in supply, you can move him to anywhere that's in full supply, and then perform an activation. I would like to know about that. Is this guy was a really fast responder to, events? Was he like the reserve commander or something? Because it doesn't say you have to be able to trace like a line of supply from where he started to where he went. Just like, hey, what if they're on opposite sides of a lake? Stiff upper lip. Ignore a hit on a vessel. Okay, that's nice. Scott wounded. Ooh. Attempting to eliminate an enemy leader as in a post-combat event reaction. Scouts and lookouts. Oops, sorry, I got that out of frame a little bit there. So you're reacting to a U.S. Commodore. Occupying, they get to evade. The U.S. unit can allow, and you get to draw a card, so you get to replace this. That's kind of cool. I'm actually reversing the order. I hope it doesn't matter. So these, okay, feigned retreat, frontal charge, refused flank, refused the left, refused the right. All right, double shot, scouts and lookouts, the Battle of Big Sandy. Oh, interesting. Any British regiments evade by sea or by British bateau movement. Bateaus are like those large Indian canoes. One regiment of British troops suffers this stuff. So you can force the British to lose a step loss. And you get to draw a card. Fort George. All right, so I'm not going to look through all these, but here's some of those examples. Contrary winds, reactions, pre-naval combat. There was post-combat, there were events. Here's some more of those. Probe, feigned retreat, frontal charge. Now I wonder, well, there's a mix. There's a bunch of 1814s, but there's some 1812s. So while versus, this is the 1814 deck. It's like, well, wait a minute, there's an 1812 in there. Why is that one 1812 hiding in this deck? Yeah, see, they were all 1814s, except for that one dude. I was not imagining it, was I? Oh, there's an 1813. I'm going to pull those out to put them on the front to, there Excuse my arm. So now I'll find it. Do not shuffle that deck. Do not remove the cards. Do not pass go. Do not go to Fort Detroit. Do not collect. Anyway, so I will put not a rubber band, a plastiband. Remember, a plastiband. Do not put your cards in rubber bands. All right, folks, that is 1812. War on the Great Lakes Frontier from Compass Games. Let's see again. I did not memorize the designer's name, so we will flop it over again. Oh yes, Ken Repel, with Richard Jennings as developer. So, if that looks as fascinating as it did to me as it is to you, you will go out and buy this game. But, you know, not everyone's interested in strange freshwater Navy battles, campaigns lasting over a couple of years, and all sorts of interesting activity up there. So, well, this is Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. We went over 25 minutes on this unboxing, as I do indeed tend to meander. So, all you good folks out there, take care, say goodbye to Scully, and ciao.